Ooh, might make your head blow off.
Hey yo, it's a talk show host, Kana Lassiter. Join me for an episode of Relations, the most lit hour of adult conversation.
Hold up, you know you can't forget about me. It's 51 Spade, Alpha Male God, one half of Relations. You wanna hear the truth? Can you handle the truth? It's where it's at, baby. It's where it's at, baby.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to an all-new episode of Relations. My name is Kana Lassiter.
Say it with me now, Alpha Male God, 51 Spade, aka the nigga you love to hate. I'm in the building again.
Yeah, you know how we do it. 2 topics in 1 hour. We had such a great conversation our last live show. We wanted to run the topics back. I don't know if we have some of the same listeners from the last live, but the 2 topics were blurred lines and choosing an underachiever and then mad at the underachiever for being an underachiever.
AKA loser.
AKA loser, underachiever, loser, bad choice, whatever. Just not being held, not taking accountability for probably not choosing the best possible outcome for yourself. And that alone, I think, deserves numerous amount of shows dedicated to that topic. But we'll start back on the first topic, which is blurred lines. I think our last conversation, I started it off saying that there were more blurred lines for me as an individual in my adolescence. As we begin to talk, and as I begin to think about my maturity point, when I began to mature, I still think there were several blurred lines, but that was because I wasn't looking for something definitive. For me, it was less words and more action. So if someone treated me like a girlfriend, I assumed that's what I was. And that did include sex. Now, as an adult, as a mature adult, I know that sex does not equate to a relationship. But I think that is something that all women learn over time. Sex to us growing up is a love act. Therefore, if I have a Barbie and Ken doll, my Barbie doll is saying I love you to Ken, and my Ken doll is saying I love you to Barbie before they end up horizontal in my motherfucking dollhouse. So if that's what you're doing as an adolescent, when you're out there and you start dating and you're laying horizontal with Ken, that means love. I think that hopefully, I don't have any kids, so I didn't have the opportunity to teach my child that that's not love. But hopefully, with more modern mothers, they've maybe learned a way to translate that sex isn't love in some way. I didn't get that lesson, but I did learn the lesson. But I didn't get that lesson at home. I got keep your legs closed. I didn't even get don't have sex till marriage. I just had be a lady. When you have on a dress, close your legs. Don't be fast. Don't get pregnant. You know, I went on birth control at 16, 17-year-old. So my mom had her way of doing things, but that's what she did. She didn't teach me why I should keep my legs closed. You keep your legs closed because you don't want to be loose for your husband. Whoever you choose or whoever chooses you should be a virgin. I didn't get that lesson.
I wonder why. That's a curious thing too. I feel like y'all mamas really led y'all astray and let y'all down, because if someone was getting taught that at a young age, especially with women, I don't think that y'all. I think it seems a little confusing for y'all to. What makes you think that sex is equated to love? Like, just from a woman's standpoint, what would have you say that, or what gave you the idea that sex was I don't know. Like you're saying, like, I know that it doesn't mean love now, but what made you think that sex equated to love anyway?
The act, the taking off my panties, the kissing of my breasts, all the things.
So
every single act. Sex to me at that point now, even because and People who know me know this. I don't even believe in casual sex.
So
as an adult, I don't believe in having sex casually.
So you don't. So is a quick question. You think that fucking and making love is the same thing?
No. I know that fucking and making love are two different things. I can be in love and still fuck my partner.
Gotcha. I understand that. I ain't talking about your partner. I'm just saying because it's not your partner when you're first meeting that person. You're on a date.
But if we're doing, I'm gonna just cut it short. If I'm in a sexual act with this person, I might not be thinking love, but I'm thinking this is deep. I'm not having sex on the surface. So if I'm having sex with you, I have feelings for you at that point. There's no way I'm having sex with anybody that I don't feel something for.
I understand that. I just wanted to know, did you know the difference between the two? And I'm trying to figure out, why did you equate having sex to love? Because those two things, I'm gonna say, for a man, and that's probably the biggest thing. Like, I understand growing up as a young lady. I understand the idea of seeing the Ken and the Barbie and the house and stuff like that. I can even see the idea of when, you know, they have like a baby and they're pushing the stroller and stuff like that. But I don't understand like how the idea of that is introduced to y'all as that. And the reason I'm asking that is because, like, as a man, our first introduction to it is never love. Your first introduction to it 9 times out of 10 is sex. sex, fucking. It has never been, and it's interesting to me to hear you say that. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, that really let me know, like, women are really on Venus when they're talking about things like that. Because even for that to be like, y'all, for you to say, well, I like this person, but it's the idea of it making love. I'm just trying to figure out, well, how do you know how to separate the two? I guess that's really my question. Like, how do you know to separate the two if you just view it just as love?
I don't view it as the word love in the meaning of love, but it is an act of love. We're having intimacy. And if I've already gotten myself in an emotional state to even take off my clothes in front of you and lay in your bed, then I'm thinking more about how I feel about this person in those moments. I'm not thinking, damn, he got a big dick. I'm thinking I'm about to go to, another step in our relationship with this person. That's what the sex is to me all about. It's going to the next level in the relationship, especially first time sex. For me, that's graduation. So after that first time, for me, everything changes. Everything changes. After sex, after having that intimate moment. So I won't say that I'm thinking, oh my God, I love this person so much. But I am in the moment of emotion, having that intimate moment. There's no way I'm saddled up and I'm about to get some dick from this dude that I've been hanging out with for the last couple of weeks. That's not my idea.
I got it. But I was just asking, and you're talking about it from the standpoints of just your feelings of it. But not too long ago, I was watching this show, and the lady on the show began out saying, fuck love, I don't want anything to do with this, I just want to have sex. That's how she decided to come into the play. Mm-hmm. So she meet this dude and she like, fuck love, I don't want to do all that type of stuff. And then she started having sex with him. Even her friends was like, damn girl, you met him the first night, you fucked him. She's like, damn, you really own some fucking shit. Some whole shit.
They said whole shit. My friend was like, you a hoe.
Okay. So, but my thing is, the question really is, can women even operate that way? Can women even separate the two? Because even though she set out to do that, she was mad at the man when she saw him with somebody else. And then she's like, well, I seen him tongue kissing somebody else's neck. And it was an ex-boyfriend of her that said, well, wait a minute. You said, how can you be mad? You said that when you first set out to do this, it was fuck love, that you just wanted sex, and now you upset because
it was just sex. That's a cop out. I can tell you where that comes from. I went through that phase too. in college.
I ain't talking about your whole period, but
No. I think every woman goes through that, whether it's their whole period or whether they got they burnt out. Something happened to put her in the frame of mind, most of the time getting hurt, put her in the frame of mind, you know what? I just want my kitty licked. I want my kitty licked. I want to be fucked real good, fuck feelings, because that gets you into turmoil. Every woman in life goes through that period. My period for that was after a broken engagement, went off to college, and it just wasn't the engagement. It was, wow, men are really out here just trying to be boys. Boys are out here just trying to be boys and to graduate into men. It isn't that smart for me to pick a boy and ask of him man things. That's what I learned. Now, I have no control over when these lessons come. That lesson came to me my first year of school. Do not go looking for these boys to become your husband. That's not what they're about right now. So I adopted, I don't need a relationship. I can pick who I want to bond with, because I'm not going to say that I picked somebody out the club to go home and smash. It wasn't like that either. I still had friends with benefits, and I will capitalize the word friends. These were people who didn't just come over to smash. They didn't treat me disrespectfully, like not speaking to me at a party or something like that.
You said these aren't people that just coming over to smash.
Right. They weren't people that were like, hey, what's up? Come to the house, pull down your panties, you suck my dick, I go down on you, and I'm out. That's what I call coming by the house to smash.
Yeah, that's not what that is. Though.
But listen, your perspective on just being smashed and my perspective on just being smashed are going to be different, because these are people who I would consider that I could call if something were going wrong. These are people that they had dinner at my house. These are people that I took home with me on spring break and shit like that. They weren't just passing through my life to smash at that moment in time. They stayed around, and I understood when they got in relationships, and I understood when we went our separate way.
So how did you feel when they got into a relationship?
The one guy that I really liked got into a relationship probably 1 year into school, and I had been seeing him every now and then for that straight year. Then he got into a relationship. To be honest with you, I'm being completely honest, it didn't bother me. When I saw her, I saw why. He was in a fraternity, she was in a sorority.
What does that mean?
Meaning they were in the same family. If they were both, she was in a sorority, he was in a fraternity, I could see his attraction to her. To me, when you see people together, whether you like that person or not, if you're not a hater, you can look at something and say that makes sense. So that's what I'll say. I saw them in the grocery store together, and I'm like, oh, because I had saw her before, around, because she was a sorority, he was in a fraternity, same family. So they were always at the same places at the same time. So she wasn't a stranger to me. I knew of her. And when I saw them together, I said to myself, wow, that makes sense. And then he ended up marrying that same girl. So it made sense. I wasn't hating. He did not blur the lines with me, and I did not blur the lines for him. I didn't go looking for something he wasn't in the position to give. And so we gave each other what we needed at that time. And when we found other people, we just found other people. That's a situation that doesn't turn out as negative as it could have.
I mean, there's no reason for it to turn out negative. You didn't set no tone anyway. And that's what's wrong with most women, I feel, all the time anyway. Like, it's good that you were champion and took one on the chin. But
so that's what we're calling it now. I took one on the chin. I hate you.
Oh, most definitely. You definitely took one on the chin. That happens a lot of times when women have blurred lines within themselves, because they don't really know how to draw that line in the sand anyway. Y'all kind of go through life with this la-la mentality of like, or y'all like to quote unquote manifest it, or y'all be like, well, I can pray it into my life or something like that. So then when those type of things happen, I could say from the standpoint, you didn't have no right to be mad at him because he ain't promised you anything.
Correct.
But then I feel like he was also contradicting yourself by saying that it wasn't a run through, because it was a run through. You got a question?
Yes.
It's not a run through though.
This is a broad question, so this is why age gap dating is necessary.
Oh yeah. A lot of women, a lot of times, with Miss Lassiter saying, well, those guys are not in college to be there for this and that, and that. But that's also why I started off with the idea of to kind of shrink it down. why did you feel like it was a love scenario giving your pussy away and not closing your legs? Because typically, the boyfriend that you're looking for, if you're 19 or 20, he's probably in his 30s. And then vice versa. But sometimes, I mean, it's vice versa for men. It ain't really like that. But we don't mature really until we become in our late 30s and late 40s, when we're really looking for the time to actually settle down. But age gap dating sometimes is difficult for certain people, because you have women that, even though they say they mature, they're looking for someone around their age and then have all these requirements that they thinking that this guy's supposed to have, when he can't even achieve them until he gets older. Right. So do I believe in age gap dating? Yeah, I do.
I wish it would have been popular for me. I think that I would have less bodies. For
Did you
sure.
ever date an older dude though?
Never.
Why not?
Turn off.
See, and now, see what I'm saying? That answered your question right there, because that's what I was saying. A lot of women, a lot of times, this is the thing that I notice the most. Even now, when women see a man with a younger woman, they automatically be like, "That's a creepy old man." You know what I'm saying? Or they'll be like, you know, you older, but they start getting that creepy old man feel. There was one time my daughter went live on Instagram. I went into her live, and there was people on there. They didn't know I was her dad, but they was calling me a pedophile. And then she was like, "That is my daddy." I was making sure I was just messing with her, but the people on there was calling me a pedophile. You understand what I'm saying? Now I get it. There's definitely an age gap difference between my daughter and me. You know, because at that point in time, she had to be probably like 18 or 19. But they were saying I was a pedophile. And even to you saying, no. You know what I'm saying? You still kind of had that, no. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like a gross feeling. But realistically, the guy, I'm not saying you can't find one your age, but I'm saying, for what y'all require a lot of times, like a man to be monogamous, for a man to be making money, working out, all those type of things, is typically going to come from the guy that's older, not in the guy that is around your age.
Right. And I wish that maybe none of my friends were doing it. Because maybe if I would have had an example of that, the only example I had of an older man was my mom, who dated an older guy that always took us to all the amusement parks, bought us anything we wanted. But when the daily activities ended, she was trying to skedaddle. And I understood why. Even at a younger age, I recognized the difference between her younger guy friends and this guy. This guy was clearly older, acted older, smelled older, drove older. Everything about him was older. I mean, he had a whole fro. It was just too much. And at my young age, I was looking at him like he's too old for my mom.
Now, you looking at appearance. Now, I'm not.
It's not all about appearance, though. It's
you
about
say
everything.
old fro, old car, all this old shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a nigga might like collectibles. That's all I'm saying. Like, there are certain people who get trapped in their own time capsule.
This wasn't a good example.
I mean, I'm just going by what you were saying. And I'm like, damn, old fro, old car, old smell. I'm like, but if it was old money, you would be like, you would want that old money. But you know what I'm saying? But when it's attached to a guy, it's something different. But I get it, you know, but that's what I'm saying. It's like a lot of times, that's why I say, why did y'all equate, you know, love and sex? Because typically, I'm just letting you know, like from a man's standpoint, typically when men are introduced, keep in mind, we playing, you know, we're growing up, we get you introduced to sports and playing with guys at first. And really, you know, women are like yucks. You know what I'm saying? Like when we first are like adolescents. Mm-hmm. But then once you get introduced to sex, we're never introduced to sex is love. Like love. You know what I'm saying? Like you ask most.
Well, maybe that's the problem.
You ask most. Yeah, but it's not a love act for us because.
But why isn't it? That's what I'm saying. This conversation always boils down to
be fruitful and multiply.
No, this conversation always boils down to why do women this and why do girls this and why don't your mama teach you this? How come they didn't send their boys out into the world saying, go look for your wife and keep your dick in your pants? Well, why is it our responsibility to decipher between a love act and what love really is when
Because
it comes from an act of sex is an act of love.
Got you. Because your mom is supposed to be at least teaching you the idea of keep your legs closed and wait to marriage. Now, this is the thing with that. Now, let's be honest. A lot of women, especially in their adolescence, how many of you young women listening to your mom, like y'all follow the dick down the driveway, say fuck, it's like fuck your mom, this and that, run out the house barefoot. Mama, I love him. Like go totally against the grain. So you can't land that on the doorstep of a dad, because 9 times out of 10 the dad is 9 times out of the provider. And especially during, if you're talking about like during your time or probably when your dad was around in the 70s and shit like that, like they're typically in the army and they're away from the house, so the responsibility do fall on the mother. But if your mother didn't say, hey, or you just didn't take the hint, and maybe she assumed that you just took the hint that I'm married, this is what you're supposed to do, so you should be married. And for most women, it's kind of like a shock when you find out your daughter lost her virginity, and then y'all be losing in the back of cars or underneath the bleachers or some shit like that. And so it's like, what do you do then? And then most women conform immediately and be like, well, let me go put you on birth control since you're gonna be. They don't even correct what you did that went wrong.
Real shit. I agree. From the outside looking in, now as an adult, if I were sitting down having a conversation with my mother, I could say it probably would have went better if. But you don't know that in the moment, you know what I'm saying? So you out there on your own.
Okay, so but that's my point of what I was saying. Because when you was like, well, it's on the man, but I'm like, majority of everything you learn womanly comes from the woman, which is your mother. When your period hit, that's your mother that's helping you. It's not your dad. It's not your dad going through. And I'm speaking even as a man. Like I talked to my daughter about sex, but I didn't really go into details. The much as I told my daughter was love. I told her love and sex ain't the same thing. If you looking for a man, the man's gonna tell you anything to get in between them legs. That shit is a drug. So I did tell her that. Now, her mama was like, you telling her that too early? I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, look at these kids. Kids fast out here. So I told her early, and I was probably around, she had to be like 12 or something like that when I actually told her that. Because I'm trying to catch it, and sometimes, hey, women start off earlier than that.
Yeah.
But but I did tell her that at 12, and she like, Dad, come on, she hit me with that. So I'm like, well, you feel more comfortable talking to your mom. So that's the reason I'm saying it can't really lie at the doorstep of the man, because majority of the time, there's even women you've seen, and you probably done it yourself. If you would have hit your period, you would do everything not to tell your daddy. You'll go somewhere else. You'll go to the neighbors. You'll do anything, but you ain't holding that bitch. So if you ain't even gonna talk to me about your menstrual cycle, you definitely ain't talking to me about your back getting beat out. Like that's not gonna happen.
Who says that in the conversation about talking to their parents about sex, getting their back broke out?
Listen, we all adults here, but we know what it means.
I can't. Anyway.
But would you have talked to your dad?
No, but I didn't. But I didn't rebuttal my father. I rebutted, why aren't we also raising the boys to go out and practice chastity? Why is it this is a question? Because if I had a son, I don't know if I would want him fucking at 11, 12 years old. Even though a man might see it different because his son is off breaking backs. But to me, I would want to keep my son as young as possible for as long as possible.
Well, we do keep them as young as possible, but this is the thing. You got to remember that we're in a Western civilization, and also like some of the things that we've been taught on this side strays us from reality of what it is. So to give you an example of what you're talking about is like right now, how you're talking about age. Well, in America, you can't even really make age make sense now. You got to be 21 to drink, 18 to go to war. So I'm old enough to go die, but I ain't old enough to drink. You understand what I'm saying? Now when you talk about sex, and back in the time, they were getting married at 14, 15 years old. This is why I'm saying, like, these are some blurred lines that's going on, because now in America we say, well, she's too young at 14, 15 years old. But they were 14, 15 years old running countries.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a little, that's so broad. And so it is based on how you're brought up. But when I tell people that, that's what I'm saying. Make that shit make sense in America. How can I be old enough to go out to go die, but I can't drink liquor?
Can't have a beer.
See what I'm saying? That's not gonna make any sense. So for you to say that to a man, like, really at the end of the day, with men, you are absolutely right, because you are kind of proud of your man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
manhood.
But it has always been that. It has always been that. Like, let's keep in mind, there are double standards. Like, we live in a world of double standards. When your son loses her virginity, is a man you like. That's what's up, man. Good job. Now, when your daughter loses her virginity and she's not married, we like,
Exactly.
boo.
Right.
You
So
know what I'm
basically,
saying?
you send your sons out as wolves, your girls out as sheep.
Well, I don't. And you know what I'm saying? But you got to keep in mind, I don't raise everyone in America, because is a community. The whole community have to be doing that. So just like how you're talking right now, I 100% believe you. I believe that everyone you dealt with the idea, like, damn, I really like this person and I really want this person to love me. Mm-hmm. And this act right here should show them that I love you. Mm-hmm. But you're gullible. Now, there's hoes out here that's like, take this catcher's mitt. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, even me at the young age of probably 10, I had a young lady offering to give me head before I knew what head was. You know, I can imagine what she is now. She probably on the pole. You know what I'm saying? But her sexual, because that's the thing about it. We always get this flack about, like, men is out here praying. Lie, ding, 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 definitely lie. Man, women out here initiate that shit. At least for me growing up, I grew up in a fast city. You might have grew up in a slow city. But I grew up in New Orleans. And even if you talk about cities up north, they're fast too. Them women aggressive. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. You ain't finna sell me that they out here getting took advantage of. Fuck
Most
no.
of us are.
Fuck no. You trying to use that Southern Belle bullshit, and we all know otherwise, because even in that scenario, I was kind of like, I didn't really like girls at that point in time. So I'm like, she wanted me to pull my dick out and shit. I'm like, ugh. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But she trying to get a freak on. You know what I'm saying? She trying, women trying to hump you with their clothes on. Like, I'm talking about this young and shit like that. And so we don't know that feel good just yet. And even when it came to my son, I told my son that. I've talked to my son about that. Look, man, you need to wear rubber, but you don't need to do it before, be careful out here, because you can impregnate the wrong individual. So that's why you want to be evenly yoked with somebody and go after somebody you really want. The problem is, y'all have poison between y'all legs. It's like, it's two things that I know in this world that's evil. That's money and pussy.
That's crazy.
Okay, so what men kill over? Money and pussy. I don't see no bitches out here killing over no dick. You know what I'm saying? But them two right there, oh.
It's evil though?
They have started, it's like anything else. Money is what you make it. Pussy is what you make it. But what I'm saying is, so for instance, I'm with my guys, okay? One of my homeboys like, I don't understand the big deal. What's so hard about putting on the rubber? What's so hard? Well, like, I don't understand the big deal. I'm like, have you ever hit pussy raw? He's like, no. That's why. You ain't felt none of that. You ain't felt none of that evil demon juice yet. You ain't felt it yet. Because the minute you get that first hit.
What is wrong with this fool?
The minute you get, listen.
He telling the truth.
The minute you get that first hit, it's like a drug, and it's just like how you don't understand people with cigarettes. They'll tell you when they hit the cigarette, they chasing that first drag. That's why they don't stop. They chasing the first drag. Well, pussy the same way. When you get that first wetness hit, you chasing that first hit. You like, and then you start finding out it's different. Oh shit, this is wet. Oh, this is gooey. Oh shit, like it's cream. oh, this is tight. Oh, this big. Like you start realizing it's different shit out here. So now you just go on an exploration.
You just start exploring. I can't.
So it ain't got shit to do with love.
We definitely don't go on a dick hike. That's for sure.
Oh, yes,
no,
No,
you
we
do.
do not.
Yes,
I
y'all
never
do.
have.
Oh, yes, y'all do.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You might be an exception, but they do.
No.
Yeah. So you
No.
okay? So your friends, that's hoes. Which you done openly said that they's hoes because you've been on this show and was like, oh, I had one of my homegirls in college. She was running through men. So what was she in?
Listen. She wasn't like going, okay, I had a real thick dick. Let me see what a real skinny one is like. And I haven't tried a really short one.
But you say
And
she
what about
had them at the
really
door.
long skinny one?
But you said she had them at the door lined up.
She don't want to talk about that.
I mean, I said that in the context of she wasn't short. Because she was a heavier set girl, and she wasn't short on gentleman callers.
Heavier set
So
girl
that was
hoes?
our conversation. That she didn't have a shortage of motherfuckers knocking on her door, but she wasn't like, well, you know what, Kana, I haven't had a really thick piece of dick yet. So I got this dude named Sean coming over that's supposed to have a lot of girth.
Okay.
That's not what we're doing.
Got you. But you know why y'all don't do that? Because she was being smart. Because she know that y'all ass is untrustworthy. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just like me having a good piece of pussy and be like, man, let me tell you about Natalie, man. Like this is a real good tight piece of pussy. Then my homeboy gonna be like, Natalie, huh? Where she at? Where she stay at? Is she gonna do the same thing? Why is she gonna tell you about this good dick that she getting for your backstabbing ass to go sliding in back door trying to be cute? You know how y'all do? Cause y'all all don't trust females. So the minute you see a chink in the armor, and we know your rule already, y'all not married, so you single. So now you know what I'm saying? Now you see a chink in the armor, and then now you over there trying to get at Enrique, and then next thing you know, you done fell on Enrique. You know what I'm saying? Now y'all done fell out. So come on.
We'll save that conversation for that topic. Let's move into the second topic of the night about the accountability for choosing the wrong partner. This is one of those topics, again, that we could run back over and over and over again. It should definitely be a more in-depth conversation more often. I'll start out by just being an example of being a person who has chosen wrong time after time. Now, I will say this. There were reasons why I chose who I chose.
Of course it is.
And there are reasons why I made exceptions, because I will not sit here and lie and say I chose someone who I thought was perfect. I already knew what the flaws were and what the issues were going into the situation. So if I picked someone who lives in New York, someone could say to me, wow, you chose someone to be with who lives in New York, who you're going to see 3 times a year at most. Was that the best possible outcome for you? Did you make the decision based on the best possible outcome for your life? No. Him being long distance alone should have made me question the authenticity of the relationship. But because everything else on my checklist was being checked off, credit, money, handsome, smells good, but most of all, never had a guy like this before, that kept me motivated to just try something new. By the way, when people said, damn, why did you choose someone to live long distance? Because I dated a motherfucker that I lived with for several years, went to high school with the motherfucker and all. He cheated on me with the bitch that lived across the street, so what does it matter if he's long distance? If he lives in New York but he treats me like a lady, then what's the issue?
Well, most people say long distance relationships are real hard to navigate, and on top of that, when you're dealing with a man, there's been women who find out that they have a whole family somewhere else.
Right.
So realistically,
I understand.
you don't know, what he's actually going on, if he's actually honest. Now, my thing about what you're talking about is I 100% agree with you, and nobody is actually perfect. My thing would be, like I said, to stay on topic, is like, you can't be mad at that person for actually being a loser. You just have to be mad at yourself. And a lot of times what I get upset about is that, the people, I'm not making it gender specific to women or men, just the person they self. They start making all these excuses about like, oh, well, this person had shortcomings, this person was this. It's like nothing, they can't own up and have the ownership of just picking the wrong person. And a lot of times that could be your family, you know, like your dad probably had shortcomings raising you. You could have been a defiant child. You kind of look like a defiant child. So like realistically, there isn't anything that I could say or someone could have said to you to instill you, because think about growing up, like you're hard-headed. You see what I'm saying? Most people want the hard route. Your mom can give you the game. That bitch can be penned out, wrote out in the book, the whole nine. Bam, here you go, Kana. Here go the book. I don't need this stinking book. I can get out here on my own. I'm gonna follow my heart, mama. You know what I'm saying? And then you get on out there and get your ass handed to you. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm not the one to say you told you so. Well, I actually am. And the one to tell you I told you so. But I'm just saying, your mama ain't gonna say I told you so. You know, they look at you shaking their head, this and that. And my thing is like, instead of being that person that's saying like, well, I picked this person and you know he wasn't the right person, I feel like with women, y'all just don't give up enough game for y'all for y'all failures. Y'all make it seem that because y'all have this idea to paint this perfect picture that everything is good with y'all. That you know, like this, you know, everything is perfect. You know you in this fucked up relationship. You go to bed crying at night and the whole nine. But even when you come out of it, because I hear a lot of women be like, you know, I came out of that, I really fucked up. But y'all don't give the other women or people in your family the game like the women. Y'all don't give them the game. Why is that?
I think for me, it's the embarrassment, the shame. Like for me, I know everybody doesn't have my story related to their bad choice, but my bad choice whooped my ass. So it's hard for me to sit down with other people, being as of aggressive speaker, the things I do in my everyday life. People are like, there's no way you got your ass beat. No way. Because you don't, that ain't you. But, and so because of that, there's a bit of embarrassment and shame around confronting someone about their choices. Now,
I got a question though.
Sure.
This is real difficult to hear you say that. My thing is this. Why you feel like it was absolutely no one that you could talk to, like not your mama, not your cousin, not nobody. I really feel like, you know, and I'm not being funny, I'm being 100% like serious. Like that's a real fucked up scenario to be in, and then you just have no outlets. Because even with is a man, and I'm just talking as a man, I might not tell all my homeboys, but I do have a particular set or one or two that no matter how embarrassing that shit get, I can be like, bro, okay, this shit happened to me, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know you know me for me, but this shit happened. You didn't have, you like...
No.
That's that.
Because we would have to dedicate a show to some of the types of abuse that I got. People just don't believe it. Like getting burnt with Black and Miles or shit that...
I wouldn't believe that.
I don't know, because I don't know. I think, you know what it is?
You have real friends then.
No. This is what it is. I think even for me to say that, I just opened up a whole fucking box of worms. Like to me to even say that, I imagine a box and open it and all these worms are crawling out. Because I say that statement and now everybody has 10,000 questions, just like you. It's hard for you to even just listen to the things that happened to me and without stopping and saying, wait a minute, let me ask you a question. That's exactly what I get now when I tell somebody something, not just that, oh, I was abused or hit. People can take that and not ask questions. But when I go into details about what I went through, that's what people don't believe. Because the things that he chose to do is something out of a book.
I got it. But what I'm saying is now, you done been through that. So I don't want to stay on that. But now, you done went through that shit. This motherfucker a loser. Now we gonna go back to the shit that you said. He checked off every box. He had good credit, check. He had money, check. This is the type of person I didn't think of, but he was a complete piece of shit. Now there's an outline of shit that, you know what I'm saying, of a person that you fuck with that was the loser that are still red flags and signs for other people. So now you supposed to share that game with other people. So it's like for me, I tell, and I tell dudes, because I'm, for one, people who know me, I'm real pro-black, but I'm definitely all man. And I tell men, especially young men, that, I've trained a lot of Jedis out here. You know what I'm saying? I've had a lot of Padawans in the motherfucking stable, and I had to train them to Jedi Knight. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, it was crazy because I used to tell, my brothers, my cousins, my home, hey, watch out for this type of chick, man. This is going to be the game. And then I feed them the game. They come back and be like, Spade, how did you know that? I'm like, they all the same, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Because the personality of people just don't change that much. So, I understood that I didn't want my people to go through the fucked up shit that I went through, that I know that they gonna go through and be feeling a certain way. So I'm like, you know what? I feel like all women band together to save women, but obviously hearing you tell that story, I don't feel that way. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that could just be in your particular case. But I'm gonna say for me, I didn't want my people to go through it. So when I seen shit that was wrong, hey man, I pulled them up by their collar. Look here, young blood. You know what I'm saying? And then I gotta get in the game. Now, they was a little resistant at first, but then they'll come back and they be like, Spade, you ain't gonna believe this shit, dog. And then it's just like I said. I mean, almost verbatim too. So you got that. You chose to be sharing that game about this loser to kind of show people, because you got hoodwinked. You landed on Plymouth Rock. You know what I'm saying? Plymouth Rock shouldn't be landing on you. But you did that, and now you got it bottled up inside, and you're supposed to be showing these young women about the game, because he fooled you. Like, regardless of the fact, you're not perfect, but he fooled you with some shit that you thought was shiny, and that was something I was taught. Women fall for shit that's shiny and bright. Mm-hmm. So you holding that, why?
Just because I think in order to hold yourself accountable for those decisions, you have to understand why you made them, and that's self-help, therapy, things like that. You can't really get on a soapbox and preach to people about choices unless you understand why you made those choices to begin with. Because there are plenty, you were right, there are plenty of red flags that I just didn't pay attention to. But that's something wrong in here. That's an internal thing that I'm not holding my own self to a certain standard, saying, well, wait a minute, you know better than that. Why are you dealing with that? You have to be able to hold yourself accountable. And you just have to understand yourself. And I don't think I understand why some of those choices were made. So I'm in no position, I don't feel like. But maybe that shouldn't be my worry. Maybe I should just be telling people just off the GP. But
well, I'm not saying everybody, because like I said, I had a selected few of people. But for me, like right now, I tell especially young black men, because there's a lot of women out here, and we in this modern day movement where they feel like we don't need a man. We got our shit together. They running out here with false narratives and shit like that, where they feel like they just circling black men, when there's a lot of men out here. But I'm often telling men, like, listen, man, get your shit together. Like, you don't have to, chase your money. You know what I'm saying? Don't chase no pussy. You know what I'm saying? You chase your money and get that money, that pussy will come. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of men out here that's also beta, because they have been instilled with women antics. And then they and then they're acting like, they acting like women and giving bad advice and trying to tell men that really are men that we ain't men. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm always going to be an advocate of men and tell them what to look for and to build themselves up. So I don't want to be outnumbered out here, how you feeling like you outnumbered, because it's a lot more hoes out here that you sitting there talking about, I got this 90-day rules and this and that. You know what I'm saying? While your homegirl, got a fleet line, lined up at the door, and got one to give her candy, and one to drive her to the store, and one paying half her rent, and one is friend zone, and one giving her that mandingo. And then, that's, what it is. So you definitely got to give her some of this game.
yeah, and to me, you call it game because you feel like I'm empowered now. But you also do the show with me and things like that. So that's when you feel like, okay, you can give somebody the game because you're fixed. You've learned. To me, I can't say that I'm not fixed. I feel better. I'm out of a bad situation, but I still feel internally I need to find out why I made the choices that I made. And I think that's how we all avoid being in a situation where now we're mad at our partner for being an underachiever, a loser, a liar. We're mad at them for playing their role. You always knew that that's the role that they were going to play.
And that's what I'm saying.
Why did you choose that? Sometimes it starts with you finding out why those choices were so attractive to begin with.
And you're right too, because see me, I found out early. I was like, you know what, and I always tell young men this: the woman might look good, but you gotta constantly keep looking at her, because after a while, you get past that, what I call it, like that honeymoon phase of just that visual. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like when you first see him, you like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? Then your manhood gonna kick in. You be like, damn, I wonder what that mouth do. You know what I'm saying? I wonder what XYZ do. That's what I'm trying to show you. Like, this is how men think. Because we visual. You know what I'm saying? We see the visual first. Because even like with women, and y'all don't make it no better. Y'all be having low cleavage cut shit, you know what I'm saying, tight fitting shit, especially now y'all out here in leggings and with y'all monkey paw out and all this other type shit. And then be wondering like why we got sex on the brain all the time. So don't be over here laughing like I'm just telling these motherfucking farces and shit like that. Like, this is why we think like that. Like, we see that and then that come. But this is when I tell the young men, you know what I'm saying, like, that could look good, but that could be trouble though. And you have to go past that outer exterior, because you gonna want to know, how has her mama raised her? What kind of family that she in? You gonna want to dig into that a little bit deeper. Now, if you ain't looking to go that route, of course you're gonna go in the route of I ain't looking for that, I'm just trying to smash. I get that. But some men get trapped in relationships because they look at her as visual first, then end up fucking her, then knocking her up, and now you feel like you're stuck.
And that's definitely one of those choices that I feel like this topic for me was built around. I was excited about the topic because that's what I see more often than not. Our women get into these quick relationships and now they're pregnant.
Yeah.
And now 6 years later, you're complaining to me about what a piece of shit dad this guy is, but he was a piece of shit boyfriend. Right. So what made you think, why was that equated a bad boyfriend? Why did you equate that to being your baby daddy? Because how did that grow to baby daddy? From being a shitty boyfriend, how did he graduate being now the father of your child who you have to deal with for the rest of your life? He was a piece of shit. Even if you said that, if you sat down and had a conversation with me about him beating your ass, him coming home late at night, him not holding down a job, a stone cold drunk, the last phone call I'm supposed to be getting is that you're pregnant.
But you answered that question though. That's why I was asking you that earlier, because it's like y'all lead with love first, and that's why I said, how do y'all not know the difference between love and fucking? Because there is a fucking difference, and that's what I'm trying to say to you. That's what I've been saying the first segment. I'm like, how you fucking don't know the difference? Because to me, that is how y'all get fucking pregnant. I'm giving game, not check me. And that thing is like, I feel like that's a lust period. So that's why I'm saying like, why you don't know the difference between the lust of just like, I'm lusting at loneliness. Not when you older. I'm talking about early on. I'm talking about adolescence. I ain't talking about you. I ain't talking about older. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And you in the danger zone, and then you like, oh shit, I'm about to die. I need somebody. No, I'm talking about earlier on when y'all look at somebody and you trying to pick that mate, just like you saying. You still have to know the difference between I'm just lusting for this person, and this person could be lusting just for me, and then want to peel back the layers, but instead you let the lust take over, and then before you know it, and now y'all in adult situations, and now you're forcing this person, because now the guy's like, we were just fucking, like, I don't know where you get all that from, and then you gonna be like what you just said, then what you said, no, because you didn't do your due diligence as far as saying what are your intentions with me, and I say that to a lot of women. I don't ever even understand, like, I don't even hear women say that. I don't even think I've ever heard a woman say that well, you know what, I haven't heard a woman say that to me, but I've heard her dad say that to me. What are your intentions with my daughter? But I don't ever hear a woman say, yo, what are your intentions with me? If I did hear it, probably once. But that should be part of your handbook.
It should be. And it's really sad that we don't ask that. And it all boils down, this is not a self-care type of show or topic, but I have to say that that's where it begins. Just being able to take care of yourself and know that you're that valuable to ask someone, what are your motivations with me? Like, what are your intentions with me? You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of times, because I know we had the young lady yesterday to say, well, what if they lie? Because a lot of times, it's easy to just say what we want to hear. You understand what I'm saying? So if I asked a guy, what are your intentions with me? I don't think he's going to say, well, to tell you the truth, I've only been hanging out with you for the last 35 days because I want to fuck the shit out of you. I've met one guy my entire life that would say some shit like that, and that's you.
Because I'm real. But this the thing though. This the thing though that I want and keep in mind, you know, and a lot of people probably think I'm bullshitting, but I'm dead ass serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've trained a lot of Jedi's out here, and this the thing that I hear you saying that, but I always tell people, you know, and I was taught this doing combat and, you know, fighting and boxing when I was coming up. When people say they losing, my coach used to say, you only losing because you haven't figured out a way. And I'm like, and for the longest, I never understood that saying. And as I got older, I started realizing I know what that means. He's right. There's always a way out. The only thing that blocks you is you. There's always a way out. There's no move that someone can do on you that you cannot maneuver out. The problem is you just don't know how to get out of it. And for you to even be saying something like that, like, I get it, but when you're talking to somebody, if you look at a lawyer in court, the reason they catch them because they ask the right questions. So you're talking about, most women talk about talking to somebody and expect it just to be a straight, direct answer. When you see a prosecutor get up, he's not asking direct questions. He's leading them into something to block them in to where they have nowhere to go once they asking the question. And then after a while, no matter how much they trying to lie, he done blocked them in. And it's the same for that when you're asking certain questions. It's not about the question you ask. It's how you ask it and what you're looking for. And your job is for them not to know what you're asking. You're looking for a straightforward question. Sometimes you need to know to ask the right questions to get the right answer that you need.
Well, this is a little lesson from Alpha Male God. It's been an hour, guys. You can find me on IG and Twitter without the tap in. I keep forgetting the tap in. We do have a tap in for the night. And I think I can explain what the tap in is. So, we have a guy that watches the show, and he wrote in and gave us the scenario. He has a cruise. Him and his girlfriend have a cruise that they have paid for and have been waiting months to take. She gets COVID, okay, and she's better now. But during that process, she gives COVID to the boyfriend. So now the boyfriend has COVID, but the cruise is like a couple of days away. And she has made it clear in more ways than one that she's going on that cruise no matter what his COVID test say. No matter what, she's going on that cruise, which, I'm going to say this in plain English, she going to leave his black ass at home with COVID that she gave him and going on a cruise. So, yeah, me being the submissive woman that I am, it's a no for me. I'm not leaving my husband, my boyfriend at home. First of all, I don't want to go on a cruise without my man. I'm not going to paradise without my dick. I don't want to go to paradise without my dick. So I'm not going. That's number one. Number two, he's sick.
What?
I feel like the role of girlfriend or wife, you're walking out on your role to go to paradise. So you're going to go on vacation while I'm battling COVID. That to me makes zero fucking sense. The only dog in a fight that she has is, what about the money? I could give two shits about that money. And I know for sure if she going on Carnival, she can reschedule that cruise. It ain't that serious. It's just saying, to me, it's saying a lot without saying anything, that she is choosing to leave him alone, home, sick, not being there to take care of him, number one. Not, to me, it doesn't show remorse. You gave me COVID. You did. I didn't get it from going out. I got it from being at home with you. You would leave me here and go on a cruise after giving me the shit? I'm just saying, to me, that not breakup territory, but it is a red flag that when the chips fall down, when shit get bad, you dip out.
Okay, you forgot to mention the side note, the cliff note. The cliff note was actually before this actually happened. He was actually planning to go on going on a wedding, and it was out of town. Now he originally planned on going to that wedding by himself, and she raised holy hell about him going by himself. Now look at this. The roles are reversed. Look at this shit. You know what I'm saying? And remember, I just told y'all right in this last segment that I'm an advocate for men. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to give the version of the politically correct version. It's real crazy because I do agree with everything that you're saying. It's crazy to me that, you know, I got COVID from you, and now you finna go giddy up and on some goddamn cruise ship, and I got sick because of your ass, and you like pretty much fucked me. But the crazy shit about it is, but he was willing to sacrifice, you know what I'm saying, his trip and say, you know what, I'm gonna get you on this trip. And I noticed that about women. It's like, when it's something for them that they want to do, they will stop at no means. They will damn near be like, kiss my ass, I'm actually going. So fellas, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm only going to tell you this once. This is the word in the word of alpha male G-O-D. I'm telling y'all to tell every single one of them, if they can dish it, they best to be able to fucking take it. Because that, to me, is the only solution with this shit. It's too many women out here that the minute a sign of happiness come up in a man's life, they want to snatch it away. You know what I'm saying? You going to Vegas by yourself. Why you don't want to take me with you? You don't bring me sunshine every goddamn day. I see you 24/7. Sometimes I need a break away from your motherfucking ass. Sometimes it doesn't require that. Sometimes it might just be a guy trip. Sometimes I might just need a break, and we need a break away from each other. So just because I'm going somewhere else does not mean that my love has faded, or it's like some intricate plot plan to go do some shit. Now don't get me wrong, there's gonna be a lot of women out there who's like, no, he got that bitch in Vegas. No, that bitch is over there in Arizona underneath that cactus. You know what I'm saying? Like, they gonna be out here saying all this other type of shit. Fuck all that shit, you know what I'm saying? Because who's supposed to be on that cruise with you? I don't know if Fabio on that damn cruise or Tyrone. You know what I'm saying? I don't know either or. But what I do know is that you got me sick, and now you want me to bite the bullet. My advice is, if she want to play it like that, hey, cash in your chips, let her have that chip, and then cash in your chip, because that shit will come back around.
And I forgot that what most of the tap-ins are really centered around is not so much our opinion, but more our advice. So I came off a little strong. I didn't go down the advice route. My advice would be to sit down and break down some of the things that I said. What it looks like. You know, I'm sick. I count on you to, if I get a fever. You know, there's certain things a man needs from a woman. She's a nurturer. It's sad to have to say out loud that he should have a conversation with her about being a nurturer, because he should not ever have to do that. She should naturally be filling that position. But if he's not willing to say, hey, you're not the woman for me, then it has to be talked about, because she may not know that she's missing that part. So if the relationship is worth it, he should definitely sit down and say, you know, where's the nurturer? Have you forgotten that I got COVID from you? Have you forgotten that I was going on a wedding that did not include you, and you blew up at me about it, but now you want to go on a cruise by yourself? Do you see how this could leave me feeling some type of way? And if she's honest with herself, then the answer is going to be, yes, I could see that. And then they could talk about it from there. But she has to be accountable. She definitely needs to be held accountable for the choices that she made leading up to COVID. She has to be held accountable for throwing a fit about a wedding that she wasn't invited to. And she has to be held accountable for making the choice that she's making to do the same thing to him she was just arguing about being done to her. She has to be held accountable for all three of those things. If she's not, mark my words, this argument is going to happen again. And it's going to be a lot worse because he's not going to sit her down and say, listen, this is too much. And this is why it's too much.
Facts. Roll up.
It's that time, guys. I get to plug my Twitter and my IG, and it's working. You guys are following, and I really appreciate it. Follow me at Kayna Lassiter on Twitter and IG.
Hey, you can follow your boy on both platforms. That's 51 Spade. I want to thank everybody for joining us on TikTok. Make sure that y'all are following the Relations page. That's DA_Relations_podcast. Y'all have tap-ins for us. Y'all can DM me on TikTok, or y'all can go to that page. I already gave y'all the handles. Y'all looking for these shirts right here, y'all go to Alpha Male God Creations, and I'll definitely get you what you looking for. And we do take donations. Y'all want to help this show grow, you can send it to the Cash App. That's $ Alpha Male God. That's again $ Alpha Male God. Help this show grow so we can get you more shows, because as you can see, we did a back-to-back. Who would have thought that was going to be able to happen? And I'm going to do like I always do about this time.